This is Common Courtesy, a social commentary talk show podcast starring personalities from various backgrounds, starting the conversation on the latest trending pop culture news, sex, relationship advice, and interviews with special guests. With your host, Sean Nicholas. They're obviously lying to Fox News, ABC, CBS, but you're not lying to us. Angelique Young.
I just want to see everybody catch a case because I don't think anybody would flip faster than a Fox News reporter.
Ivan Alexander.
You gotta be a special kind of stupid to think he was misleading. Let me tell you, flat out, he lied.
Brandy J.
Like before DNA test, so-and-so was really your father, but they weren't really your father, and the DNA test came out and it was like...
And Dr. Christina Palin.
Even in critical race theory, some people think it's about slavery. So what? Slavery should be taught.
All right, so I'm glad we had a chance to talk about this. We are coming back. Sit back and enjoy the conversation. Hey guys, and welcome back to Common Courtesy. I'm your host and moderator, Sean Nicholas. And here with me, I have my awesome co-host. I have next to me, I have Angelique.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So glad to be back.
Yeah, same. We took last week off. I forgot about all that. On the bottom of us, we have Ivan Alexander.
Hey, we're back, although I was going to be up top here for some reason, but maybe I'm down there. I don't know. But we're back.
We'll see about that.
I feel like Beyonce right now. I'm on top because my picture shows me on top. So hey, do you?
I'm on the left. I really don't understand how this trio works. This is not an Eiffel Tower like I was promised, but whatever, we'll make it work.
We'll see. Because I'm a diva. Okay, You already knew that when you got into this. You know what kind of person I am. Speaking of which, Angelique, you're doing a new show. In Ybor right now, and it's a brunch. I kind of want to congratulate you on that because you deserve it.
Hercules.
Yes.
I'm not sure if we haven't talked about it before, but can you tell us about it?
Sure, absolutely. Bit? So I now am the show director at a place called Show Bar in Ybor, and they're doing a Sunday brunch that they hold every single Sunday at 2 p.m. And we are changing the way brunch is done by doing something a little different entertainers, different vibes, a different menu every single week. With the breakfast food and the lunch food that creates the brunch atmosphere. It's all you can drink Bloody Marys that you make yourself and all you can drink mimosas. We just added cranberry mimosas. So you got your OJ mimosa or your cranberry ones. It's a fun atmosphere. The show lasts an hour, and then we end it by allowing everybody to go out on the patio and have drinks on the deck in the sun. So we're utilizing all of the wonderful tools we have in our toolkit to create the best brunch in Ybor City.
That sounds like, like a soap opera. I love soap operas. My favorite is General Hospital. Going to the Metro Core, having a little dinner, a little show.
It's a little bit of everything.
Have some drinks.
And let you get some fresh air outside. We've got some very gorgeous staff, both men and women. We've got some of the local favorites. We have Teacup, Mr. West outside on the patio. We have April Cooper outside as well. We have Shelby, a couple of wonderful new people that people might not know from Tanger Nightclub doing the inside work. Jake and Ava are super popular with our staffing or with the guests and customers. So you guys definitely, if you're in the area, come check us out. They do reservations all week, and we have sold out every single week since I took over. So
awesome.
Yeah. It's a fun show.
We know who the real Beyonce here. We know the real Beyonce.
I've always been a Kelly Rowland myself.
Okay. That was a dig.
Always been a Kelly Rowland. I always get in and get out and still make my money. It's never a big deal. Still sell it out,
I'm dead. All right, guys. Ivan, I'm going to get to you, but let's get started because I wanted to say, Brandy and Dr. Palin aren't with us this evening. We will see them next week. Scheduling a show is really, everything that has to do with any show production. You know what I mean? You got to be like, oh, we got to be here. We got to be there. Trust me. I'm running myself around the world. I feel like Superman, bitch, like Wonder Woman. I'm like, I'm with that her lasso, and with you know how she be like, okay, I'd be like blocking beep, 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 the bullshit. I'm a bartender, so you gotta be like, yeah, okay, beep, 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 beep. Okay, so let's get started. There's a lot of things going on. You know, Kanye being banned from the Grammys, and also interesting. Well, you know. The Indiana governor, Eric Holcombe, who's a Republican, vetoed a bill that would have banned trans girls from playing female sports in grades kindergarten through high school. So I think that's kind of like, you know, important. I wanted to ask you guys later on in the show if that's going to be a tipping point within the GOP. You know, they're going to start, you know, becoming more inclusive on that subject. And also as well, this whole thing, getting rid of grades and valedictorian, salutatorian, you know, is that going to, you know, some people saying that it doesn't really mean anything. And some people say competition is not helpful to education. There's a lot of arguments with that. We're going to get into that later. But first, let's get into Yay. Let's get into Easy up in this bitch, you know, with Kim Kardashian. You know, because I think we haven't talked about this yet, you know, because it's not really an LGBTQ plus issue, but you know, it is like I think a mental health and also like a social society issue. And if you're unfamiliar with what's going on with Kanye West being banned from the Grammys, here's a little bit of, wait, let me just get into my little teleprompter. If you're not really sure what's going on, let me just fill you in. So Kanye West's recent online activity has now cost him a performance slot at the 2022 Grammy Awards. Variety has now confirmed a Friday report from The Blast that they are true. West was informed on March 18th that his concerning online behavior had become such an issue that he would no longer be allowed to play. The online behavior they are likely referring to is West's repeated posts about Kim Kardashian and Big Dick Pete Davidson. The Grammy decision is also likely swayed, I heard. It's probably swayed by the return of Trevor Noah as host this year, allegedly. On March 16th, West targeted Noah with another since-deleted post calling him a racial slur. Instagram then suspended Kanye West for 24 hours due to this post violating the company's rules against harassment. Okay, so I want to go to you guys. You know, was this the right move by Kanye? Because since then, Trevor has, you know, said the move shouldn't be canceling Kanye. It should be getting counseling. Pete Davidson has repeated that, even that text message we saw, you know, over the weeks when he's like, oh, where are you right now, Pete? And he's like, I'm in bed with your wife, which I don't think you should taunt him. I want to go to our relationship expert, Angelique Young, and see what you think. So my question is, right, is there a double standard going on? Is this the right move to ban him from performing at the Grammy?
Wait, hold on. You said there's a double standard, as in what? What would have been the alternative? Like,
I was asking, is there a double standard? Should he be banned from performing? Like, is there any double standard? Because you know what, he's a celebrity, and I feel like a regular person. The things that he's said, you know, making that video. And when he had a claymation of him burying someone that looks like Pete Davidson, you know, I feel like that's like akin to a child drawing, like, you know, disturbing pictures, you know, in school, and you having an uncomfortable conversation with that parent. Like, I think there's something wrong here, you know, and also as well his repeated, you know, threats in the text messages we're seeing. So like, because I honestly feel like he should be Baker acted. But my real question is, you know, first, should he be banned from performing? And is this the right move? And we'll get to everything else.
Just to kind of unpack,
it's a loaded question.
Unpack it, like, from like a mental health, like, point of view, it's not the Academy's job or Grammys or any concert or venue hall's responsibility to maintain his mental health. That's for him and the people in his circle to do that. Those are the people that are close to him. If anybody had the right to do that, it would have been Kim. Kim should have done this a long time ago, but out of respect for him and probably some weird, you know, love for him, she's obviously choosing not to and letting him know, like, he needs to do this on his own. But as far as the award show goes, they're absolutely in their depth and in their right to do so. He has proven time and time again, given the opportunity to take over or say something or do something, he will do it. His performance would have been of his new song, and it would have been a disrespectful thing. It would have been something that would have went way left. If the video went that way, I can only imagine what he would have snuck in at that discretion. Look at what happened with people like Nicki Minaj, Miley Cyrus, Cardi B, you know, all of these women who were in the
Taylor Swift.
they all had an opportunity to stand on stage, and they all took their digs. They all did what they had to do, or someone took advantage of them or something to that effect, right? So the reality is that what they did, I feel, is right. They took away his privilege to perform, not his privilege to attend, and not his privilege to win an award. They're allowing him still all of that category. Like, he can still do all of that. They're not lessening anything other than giving him this time on stage, which I think is smart. He doesn't need any more camera time than necessary right now. He needs to be out of the camera. He's very much like the boogeyman or Freddy Krueger or anything else. People are giving him more power the more they feed into him and the more they talk about him, the more that they bring up his discretions or his mishaps or his insanity, whatever you want to call it. The more you bring it to the forthlight, the more you give him power because he's thinking that it's the right thing to do.
And then Ivan, what do you think? Do you agree with Angelique? Do you agree with, removing him from performing at the Grammys? Well, honestly,
never been a fan anyway. So no love lost here. However, if you want to act an ass, there are repercussions. So you want to play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And yes, he would have pulled some more crap on that damn stage to go way above and beyond the stuff he did now. Anybody else might have been brought up on charges of attempted murder or maybe the thoughts of kind of trying to kill somebody. Or, the video was off the chain. It was ridiculous. So Kanye being Kanye, or Ye, or whatever the hell you want to call him these days, doesn't really matter to me anyway. He's an idiot. So go for it. I'm not saying cancel him, but I'm saying you stop him from performing. That's the first step. Keep going on, and we'll take some more away from you.
100%. Yeah, definitely they need to.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's a little,
because Instagram made the right call, because I've been banned from Facebook, 24 hours, Maybe some things I've said got a little out of hand. We've all been there, We've been in Facebook jail. Yeah, I know. And so, and I think that's like a big thing in it because these are celebrities. I don't want anything to happen to Pete Davidson because I'm really afraid, because I'm looking at this shit and power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Mm-hmm. And he has no one in his team that should Baker act him. Because I'm like, wait, hold on. You spent, not only did you make a video, you create an idea, you spent millions of dollars to create a video to say, this is how I feel about this person over my ex-wife. And yes, okay, but we're grown adults though.
Supposedly.
And this is crazy.
Allegedly.
We should be talking, allegedly. I think I mean, okay, I would ask, really, I think Ariana Grande made that song Side to Side. That was when she's like, been there all night, because you got a bit, okay, anyway. Anyways, no, I'm not
she
going
was
to get
that
to
one after. She didn't come yet. That was when she was with Big Sean.
Oh, really?
She was with Big Sean.
Thank you for answering.
Yeah.
Oh, so we know why he called Big Sean.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Let me get off of that.
There's a leaked nude about him, too, out there. So if you want to see that one, Google that. Yeah, girl.
Big surprise.
So,
you better see me in my DMs later. You really don't forget after this. You don't. Anyways, but no, I really think that they made a right decision. I saw that Honey Hostin was kind of bothered by it on the View because she's like, it's a First Amendment right. But this is an award show and it's a private company.
It is.
They can make those decisions. I believe. I'm not a lawyer, bitch.
Sonny can get over it. Done.
Yes, you should get over it. Because I'm like, because then if you're not going to excuse President Donald Trump for his behavior, you cannot excuse Kanye West.
Don't give that man any more damn credit. Former.
Okay. But you can't excuse Kanye for his behavior. Because his behavior is just too much. Like, come on. But anyways, I'm getting off this. I think we all agree. I think he does need help. Someone should Baker act him before he does anything to Pete Davidson. Because I think
to preface that, Baker acting is only something that is done in 3 situations. There's a situation where they are causing harm to themselves, where they have threatened with actual proof, so like
harm and everything else,
bodily injury or harm to someone else, or someone are beyond themselves capable of consciousness. Like if I was to talk to you and you couldn't tell me your name, the year that it is, the year you were born, or any definitive information, that means that you literally cannot take care of yourself.
The second one again? Go to the second one.
So
the second one was what again?
If you were to tell somebody I'm gonna shoot you or stab you or cause harm to you in any way, shape or form.
So what about that video he made? He was literally burying Pete Davidson.
That's the case. So technically, you have to do the same thing for someone like Kathy Gifford, who did the headless Trump shoot. You have to look at it in a sense that he could say its name is Pete, but I don't think does he ever actually put like in words like "this is Pete Davidson" or "I'm going to do this to actual Pete Davidson." That's no different than you.
But Kathy Griffin, that she
It
I
was
didn't
comical
see any
satire,
evidence of her
but
it was common. But she also didn't. I'm looking at it. I watch a lot. I'm not a criminologist, but like I look at it like, okay, not only are you sending him threats and text messages, you know, and then it's public as well. And you're doing it on Facebook. Twitter. So there's a lot more to that than what Kathy Griffin did. I mean, people canceled her, and I get it.
It's
she
a form
did
of
was
art.
a little bit over the line.
Art is my point. My point is that
it was a little bit, but that was a little bit
expression.
over the line. But also, it's also being supported by your thoughts and feelings
and
in your personal
you got to understand
life.
that there are people who watch that music video and who are supporting Kanye's idiocracy. They literally are telling him, yes, go do it. Oh my God, yes, go be. Like, they don't give a shit. They don't realize the connotation that it has with it. And this is a serious issue with any mental health situation. There's always a thing. When you see two people fighting in the street and you're always egging on somebody, or if somebody does something, you don't know what happened before that got them to that point. All you know is what's going on right now. So you could say whatever you want. And maybe he is lashing out. Maybe he is having some kind of mental instability. But in that case, it's up to Pete, Kim,
I think we've gone
and the other people.
I think it's gone further than maybe, because we've seen this with Kanye for the last couple of years.
The people who are being assaulted or the people who are being attacked are the ones that have to act on it. They are the ones who have to say, like, they draw the line. Now, they could have put out a restraining order. They could have put out, other guards and other things and let the police know. It's up to them to take the proper channels and steps to make that work. But if they're not on his inner circle, then technically it would have, the only person who could really say is like Pete would have to go like, hey, look, these are the text messages I got. These are the phone calls I got. You guys need to lock him up. I want him 302'd. I want him evaluated, whatever.
Exactly.
It has to be him. But you have to understand that position that you put yourself in.
Okay, we got that. All right. I'm only cutting you off because we kind of ran over time on top, but that was my fault. I get it.
But so when you say that, I just want people who watch this to understand that the Baker acting thing is not something you should ever take lightly, because it is not lightly. It definitely it can ruin somebody's entire life. And really, everyday people do not use this as an excuse to throw it out. But also, even with celebrities, it's a very, very, very slippery slope. And you want to make sure that you're doing it within the proper range, because you can't just pick up the phone and call the police and say 302.
And with that note, we'll be right back, okay? Okay, so let's get into this next topic, because I thought it was very interesting. Indiana Governor Eric Holcombe, a Republican, struck down a bill on Monday that would have banned transgender girls from competing in female sports at the school level, being kindergarten to high school. In a letter addressing his decision, Holcombe wrote that the bill leaves too many unanswered questions. He also challenged the need for state intervention. He says it implies that the goals of consistency and fairness in competitive female sports are not currently being met. After thorough review, I find no evidence to support either claim, even if I support the overall goal. So he went on to also cite a lawsuit that's going on in Indiana about a trans boy who wasn't allowed to use the boys' bathroom, and he felt he was discriminated against, and he made a lawsuit, and I think a Indiana court agreed with him, and they said that their behavior was discriminatory. They made like a gender-neutral bathroom for him to use, and I'm like, that's crazy. Anywho, let me ask you guys. So, is this going to move the needle in the GOP? Like, I wish Dr. Palin was here. She's the Republican, but do you think it's going to move the needle on this subject? I just had a conversation about this subject, because they were saying that literally proponents of this bill is saying that boys are stronger than girls at that age. So let's talk about this. Angelique, what do you think? This is going to move the needle?
Okay, so I literally just had I had a conversation myself with this too, and a person who originally stated that they were against the trans people running in the same gender or cross gender, whatever, however you want to put it. They were against it, and then they thought about it and they did their research. The reality is that the people that you see winning in these competitions and the people that are like out there taking over and quote unquote dominating, They have to go through so much BS just to even be allowed in the room. You guys don't understand that it's not like they just woke up one day and said, I'm going to be a woman, and threw on a wig and a pair of heels and got to participate. People need to stop watching fucking satire comical movies and thinking that's how easy. It's not like white chicks. They don't get done up in a room by professionals and put out into this sport to play as the opposite sex and win awards. It doesn't work that way. They have to go through hormone replacement therapy. They have to see psychologists. They have to go through a lot of different things. And at the end of the day, if you look at their track record and their history, yes, like the one that is big on everybody's lips right now is Leah, who is the swimmer. And she literally went out and she went from 497th place out of the men's swimming division to first place in the women's division, is how you'll see it posted on any news report. But what you don't see is that throughout his transition, he literally worked his way up the rank. He came from being 500th in the position for men, and then in the women's division, he didn't even get, that was his first place win. He finally beat a woman after getting his ass kicked, her ass kicked several times in a row in this division. So people are not seeing, it's like the overnight thing. People think people are an overnight success. That's not how it works. People bust their ass to make it through their transition, to make it through the qualifications. They have to get tested to make sure that their testosterone levels are not high enough to compete. Imagine that. You got to meet, it's like weight training for wrestlers. You have to meet a certain division protocol before they even let you go into the ring. It's the same thing for all of these individuals, whether they're running track, swimming on a thing, doing any one of the Olympic sports that they're all invested in, which I think is absolutely amazing, because if this was back in Greek times, nobody was going to tell Big Barda she couldn't throw the shot put, bitch. She was throwing it. You hadn't tell her if she couldn't throw it, would have been your own face, right? So now all of a sudden it's like this big thing, and it's people who have never played a sport a day in their life are the ones who are really arguing, or people who haven't played sports in 30, 40 years who are going against these people. So him turning down this bill is a huge win for us. Him turning down this bill and shooting it down and making it so that they can just do the sport the way that they do is going to open up the door for other people to feel confident and good about what they're doing, and knowing that they can still pursue the things that they love. We give up everything. Absolutely. I gave up just to everything.
Not to cut you off, because I was just on time, but we're going to go back to you. But Ivan, what do you think? Is this going to move the needle? Because I agree with Angelique, it's a big win.
Well, I think it's a big win. I think it's a huge win. But also keep in mind, and I'm from the old school now. Don't get it twisted, okay? But in my day, and of course my age, my mind, the whole 9 yards, anatomically speaking, there's always been a difference between the male physique and the female physique. Now, there are some males that are built more like females, and there are some females who are built more like males. But overall, in general, there is a big difference anatomically between a male and a female. Now, I only say that because, yes, she was 496 as a man, but now she's number one as a woman. But my question is, why wasn't he, when he was higher than 496? Now, I'm saying the playing field is not exactly level, because if you came from 496 and all of a sudden, boom, 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 and yes, she got her ass beat a couple times by some female swimmers who are definitely very well athletic, and they did it. But my thing is, even with the testosterone and the estrogen and the chemical changes and everything else, it's a lot to go through. But I still say the basic building blocks for me, I'm saying, this is my opinion, there's still a huge difference anatomically between a male body and a female body. And to mix the two, to me, is still kind of an imbalance as far as to a degree. I'm just saying that as to a degree. Now, put the eyebrow back down for a minute, because this is what we do, because she's about to flip all over me now. And I've jokingly said,
Ivan.
I've jokingly said before, Layla Ali is a full-blown natural woman. She can still kick my ass, okay? Not I'm just saying that jokingly, okay?
Me
but
too.
In the same respect.
Me too.
Yes. There are some women who are anatomically built like men, and vice versa. But the overall, let's say this was a men's team, and this is a women's team. It's been that way for so long. Not saying it is right, but I'm just saying that to me, there's a big difference. And I'm just saying, part of me feels like it's not totally fair to go from one to the other.
I think that we had talked about this previously on the show. I mean, I do have, I do have an issue with, biological testosterone being on board when, trans girls are excuse me, are competing. So I do feel like this is an issue that, um, you know, that the GOP is, while they're politicizing it, I think there's a scientific element to it. And I think we discussed it with Caitlyn Jenner before on the show. Hold on one second. I'm getting a little.
It's okay. It's okay. I see you a little under the
So
weather.
I'm sorry about that. But so I have to say that in my view, my perspective, it's a scientific issue, not a political issue. And if the trans women are taking, or trans girls are taking estrogen, or if their testosterone levels can be tested to a point where the testosterone levels are not high, then I would not have an issue with it. And that's how I think everyone should approach it from a scientific basis, is by testing the levels of the hormones. But if there is any kind of testosterone on board, I mean, as a physician, knowing how powerful the hormone is, it just would be something completely not leveling the playing field. So I would want it not to be politicized. I would want it to be based on laboratory data. And I know that to me, it's not because they're doing the transformation. To me, it's because of the impact of the testosterone on the women.
I got you. So I just kind of want to, I'm glad that you mentioned that, the research, because let's be honest, this is kind of a nuanced situation that we are in the era of America. And we haven't seen too many trans girls, existing, and I don't think that we really have this we have the current scientific data and where we are now. And even like I was young, at one point, and between the age of talking about kindergarten to let's say 5th grade, 12th grade, girls were stronger than me if they were a little bit older than me. But they, let's say there was a senior, I was 15, she was 17. She was lifting weights. I could not lift the weights that she could, So I just think that, and I'm also, wait, hold on. I'm also an athlete as well. So, I mean, it also depends on how you're working out. You know what I mean? Like, I look like a small guy, but I do have some strength on me. But also as well, I don't because girls at that age, let's say boys at that age, they don't start hitting puberty, let's say when, 10 years old, 12. I was 12, I'm a late bloomer, and girls start hitting puberty a little bit earlier in their age. So I don't understand, there's a lot of things that we don't understand about this issue. And it's a non-issue, really. It's really a non-issue. There's only been a couple of cases where some trans girls have outperformed. And to Ivan's point, let's say there's some things that we're not seeing because it's being politicized. It's not a big issue. I agree with Dr. Payne, it's a scientific issue, but we really don't have the data on it. And I want to go to Angelique to respond. I mean, I just don't. We have the current data, but many years ago, look at where we are now. I feel like more comfortable being a gay man today than it was. So I think that we have been wrong before. Science changes, right? Once we have we develop new things and new technology, and some of the things change. I remember one point we thought maybe Pluto was a planet. It's not the same things as the human body, but we're learning a lot of things about the human, even let's say neuroplasticity, and even epigenetics, saying that some person is prone to something because someone is in your genetic structure. We're learning that maybe that's just not true. But before we go back to Dr. Palin, I'm going to go to Angelique just to respond. I'm going to give you a minute, Ange.
You mean Mount Angelique? Because he's about to blow.
Just to clarify on this, and just to make sure that, because Ivan did ask for this information, so I wanted to speak it correctly. This, in reference to my example being Leah Thomas, who is now in the light of everything right now. She was 462 in Texas at university when she was at her first college. This is 2 years before she ever started her transition, which put her at 554th in 200 freestyle specifically in the world. Now, that is not the rank that she started in on the women's. No one has put in where she started in the women's rank, but she did not come in and just take first. She has actually lost several times, coming in 5th, 4th, 2nd, and 3rd place multiple times. This is her first track record win in first place. And the only reason why it's getting national recognition is because she was in the NCAA finals. So this put her score on the board, on the book. So just so we're clear, to answer to both of your thinking that she might have had an advantage, she did not come into this competition with an advantage. She earned her competition through training and losses on her book. She is not a solid winner. She's not winning every competition.
Oh, no.
She's not swimming at her best at every time. Now, I only got a minute, Ivan. Don't jump in yet. Hold your breath. I held it for you. You hold it for me. So on top of that, to say that it's a genetic thing, that they have a genetic disposition, you have to understand that when you go through a transition, which I will say again and again, speaking from my own personal experience only, because that is where my heart is at, we go through and we give up everything. You lose all of your muscle mass. Your testosterone shrinks your body down to the point where your testicles and your penis shrink, so you can't even have that stay as big as it was. Your breasts grow. You gain weight and you gain all the same things that women go through. We get every single cramp and pain you go through. The only thing we don't get is the bleeding period, which I ain't mad about, sis. That's your problem, not mine. I also can't have kids naturally, don't have no ovaries to produce. So it's a loss on both our ends. Trust me, if I could have them in exchange for having a baby, I would take it in a heartbeat. You could make me bleed 5 times a month, okay?
It's like basically you become a barren woman. You know,
right,
you're like
exactly.
Barren,
you have nothing to gain from it. So there's no positive whatsoever. And this is just speaking from male to female transitioners. What you don't understand is that you have to work twice as hard to maintain your body. You do not get to keep it. It's not like having had it. It's like Ariel signing her fucking voice away. Once we take that first shot, we are on a downgrade. You would literally have to stop hormones for 3 to 4 months, even to hope to get back half of what you had. Half. We never go back to where we were fully. Even if you could build your body to look the way it is, your body will never produce the testosterone. So no, I am sorry. You do not get to throw out the genetic disposition simply because I was born with testicles over you. It does not make me better in any way, shape, or form if I'm on hormones. Now, if he was allowed to join the competition without it, or if anybody is allowed to do the competition without doing hormone replacement therapy, then yes, I agree with you 100%. But outside of that, no.
All right, Angelique, let me go to Ivan. Ivan, just to respond to Angelique.
Well, no, I mean, she pretty much summed it up, and I'm not dismissing any of the heartaches and trials and tribulations whatsoever in all. I'm just saying that basically, and Dr. Penn would say based on science, I'm just talking basic, straight up human anatomy. In the case of the swimmer, yes. And again, I'm just kind of pointing this out to say, yes, she didn't go in on the women's side and win first, second, third, fourth. But to go from 500 and something on the men's side, which is still an accomplishment for the world.
But know, but if we, when we get into, go ahead, Ivan, I'm sorry. But I feel like when we get into that, that's like we find this one, hold on, Angelique. We find this one like case out of a million of transgender girls that have happened to win a competition, and all of a sudden they become like the fucking superwoman and also the face of this, what can be looked at as bigotry and discrimination.
Well,
like that's what I feel like. I get what you're saying with like the whole basic anatomy and structure, but at the same time, it's how you work at your body. Like even right now, like when I was a kid, if I didn't go to the gym, I wouldn't have the body. If you look at those geeks and shit like that sit around and do whatever, there are women stronger than them. So I'm sorry, Ivan. Let's go ahead and then finish, and then I'm going to Dr. Payne. But I just have to add that in,
right? And
like
that it's a very valid point. Thing. But I'm saying there have been lots of other people that have actually done this and have not been recognized. As Angelique said, NCAA all of a sudden blow up in your face. Now, let's talk about these other athletes who for years have not gotten any recognition whatsoever. Now, I'm still saying, for me personally, again, this is just my personal opinion, but if you're built a certain way, and I do understand, degradation, hormones, and everything else changes because it's biologically it's going to change things, still, if you are born as a male, and you are born as a female, there are two differences. There always have been. There always will be. Now, can chemicals balance that out? Sure. But does that make it fair that you balance it out with chemicals as opposed to saying, okay, you know what? This is male, this is
what's
female.
The point of balancing it out? What's the point of balancing out? If you're balancing that out, then what your argument, I would have to say, is basically almost moot. It makes that point moot then. You know what I mean? Like, I've known a lot of trans girls. And they are woman, girl. girls. Like, look at Angelique. Like, they are girls. Like, I can't say they're like much stronger than any other woman their age, but like, I just don't. I'm looking at. I see what the science and the paperwork say, but I'm looking at the evidence. I'm sorry, Ivan, I had to cut you off, but let me go to Dr. Palin really fast. We're gonna have to
No, I got
wrap
you.
this up.
One point about what you were saying about, oh look, there may be difference. Where the difference is the fight or the flight response. So someone who has testosterone in their body naturally versus someone who has estrogen in their body naturally is not going to give that fight or flight response. Sure, you can modify on a daily basis. Let's say, you can, you pick up something, or the physical work, the physical mass may be different. But what is going to kick in no matter what is that if you're not on hormonal replacement therapy, or even if you are and your testosterone levels are not low enough, you're going to be able to lift, do your fight or flight response, and perform much higher in a fight or flight response than a woman, a biological woman.
Fight or flight is about your mental stability, and it's about your mental cognition and its reflex, not your physical. Your mental has to key in first. A lot of people do that to that body. Your body, the adrenaline rush you get from your mental, from your brain's reaction, is what causes the body's physical reaction. So no, you got it. It doesn't matter if you were born blind, if you were born without your senses. No, your body, it's an engine. It floats. It goes through the whole system. It's like putting oil in your car. It takes the whole system to work. It takes one thing to start the other thing to move the other thing. That's like saying someone's hand-eye coordination is not the same. No, your hand-eye coordination is literally linked to your brain's ability to process the thought, to process the movement.
And then Angelique, to let Dr. Palin fill in.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I apologize.
It's okay.
I apologize.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
Fight or flight responses. So if I'm a biological woman, I don't have testosterone in my body, or just enough for women. So a man who's not under hormone replacement is going to have a heightened fight or flight response. He's going to be able to run faster. He's going to be able to kick that in much faster than I will. Than anybody.
But I mean, sorry.
I'm not saying that fight or flight response does not happen in women. That's what kind of Angela was saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying.
Hold on.
I'm saying when it kicks in at a moment when you cannot control it, your inherent strength is present, is very, very obvious when you subject a biological male. I've
heard women like performing incredible feats when their child is in danger, but also as well. But we also. I'm sorry, I have to cut you off. We got to go. This topic is going to come back, but I also have to look at the social psychology. Look at it. Like, women have been very oppressed, much as like any other minority. So like I kind of look at even today, women are still making less than pennies on a dollar. So I think this is a much more deeper issue. But I think the one thing is that's kind of fucked up, that we're calling these trans girls men, and they're not men. They are women, because like I think what is a woman or a human being? Yes, what we're born in, but also as well what our hormones are constantly doing. And I think it's an argument, and I think we're going to learn about this in the years to come. But we ran out of time. We'll be right back. All right, guys, so let's jump in this topic. It's kind of like going around, because first, what's going on in schools? First they want to remove, the grading system, like A's and B's and shit like that. And, this whole thing, everyone's getting an award. But now I hear they want to get rid of valedictorian and salutatorian, those titles. They want to get rid of that. Though they're going to keep, the cum laude and the magna cum laude and the summa cum laude to recognize the top, 20% and on of each graduating class, but they want to kind of start this, in high schools to get rid of it. They're trying to say, there's, competition. Some people say colleges don't really care about this. Should we be doing this? Should students be awarded for being the top student in their class, or should they get rid of it? I want to go to Ivan first.
I think, hell yes, they should be rewarded. They should be out. They should be recognized. Just like when I was a kid and we got money for every A we had on our report card. Yes, you should be recognized. The days of little Johnny just showing up and getting a freaking gold star, bite me. No, it doesn't work that way in the real working world either. You bust your ass, you make your money, you get recognized, and you move on. It's all this like, oh, we all participated. We get the same amount. The hell we do. If I'm busting my butt, I expect to get more than what you got going on, and vice versa. If I'm sitting back and just like cruising and it's like a gravy train, I should not get the same that you're getting. It's called productivity. Businesses are about making the quota. It's about doing what you got to do. And yes, do I need to be recognized for it? No. Call me the head trash can dumper. Just pay me. I'm good. That's it. Loyalty is no longer to the company; it's to the paycheck. Because there ain't no gold
And let me
pocket
go to
watches.
Dr. Palin.
I mean,
Sorry.
I think that the analogy that Ivan gave is something that really resonates with me. I mean, in the real world, I mean, I'm a very big capitalistic person, so I believe in capitalism. And I think that, capitalism encourages people who do well to be recognized. And so, you work hard and, you do well. I mean, I know that some of that, there are some gray zones. You can get born into capitalism, then, like kids that are, that have rich parents or super rich parents, and that does not really always pan out that well. But I think that it should stay, and I think that schools should be a reflection of what real life is going to be ahead of them. And the fact that there's that grading system and recognition for the top, the second top, the third top, I think it should stay.
And on that note, real quick, I just want to say, just like recess, we got robbed as kids. We had a freaking hour for recess. We got to take a little nap and all that kind of shit. That don't happen on the job. You get a 30-minute lunch break, maybe 45 minutes. So they set us up big time for that failure. I was like, wait a minute, I'm gonna get my grams and my little milk, and my little nappy time. This is some bullshit. The adult world sucks. Just saying.
Yeah, I want to go back. I definitely want to go back. Angelique, let me go to you. Angelique, what do you think? Should they be removing this?
No, absolutely not. People work their asses off for those grades, and they deserve to be recognized. We have got to stop doing this thing where we put people at this equal level for every fucking thing. If everybody's given the same opportunity when they go to college, everybody's given the same opportunity when we go to high school. How you choose to do your grades is completely up to you. Yes, you might get a B instead of an A one time because of you and a disagreement between you and a teacher. But if I busted my ass all year long to be the best person in the school, I don't want just my cum laude or whatever, all my extra little 4 names. I want my award. I want the opportunity to speak to the people in that room because I fucking earned it. And if I didn't get it, then that's fine. But if I got all the way there, and what's the point? You're going to watch all of your kids' grade point averages drop because there are people who are literally depending on that. There are certain races in which, like Asian and Spanish and Black, where if you go to school, if you're an African kid and you go to school and you don't come out valedictorian, your parents are ashamed. Like you don't understand the pressure that you put. So it gives some of us a goal to run for. It gives some of us something to do. Like, do not take that away from people. There's no point. If you're going to keep all the surnames and give awards for people in a class system and segregate them by whether or not they had an A, B, or C, then you need to give that valedictorian and that salutatorian their time to shine. Maybe take away the speeches, but give me my award. Give me my little pin. Give me my extra color. Give me my cap. Whatever it is that I'm supposed to get for that, give it to me because I earned it.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Like, at the Grammys, and like we just talked about the Grammys, they're not saying like, oh, you get an award for the best album and also you get one for being second place. It ain't like that. We have to be realistic with these things. And even the grading thing, I think I love getting A's. I love, because if I saw what my friends did, that competition made me work harder, and I'm glad I had it, because it's like, that's why you want to go to school with different cultures, because you're like, holy shit, not because you're like, oh, that white kid or whatever. It's like this, oh my God, this person's working really hard. How are they doing that? Let's learn from each other. I think it's a healthy competition. And yeah, if I work hard for something, give me that award. I'm still sour for not winning this little acting award in high school. I'm still sour. I have not let the shit go. I was nominated, but no one fucking ever remembers who was nominated. You know who they remember? Number one. Because the salutatorian, let's be honest, they don't really remember. Oh, I got it, whatever. They care about valedictorian, and if you take that shit away from me, I will be pissed. But I think it should be something that people, they should definitely keep it. If you're worried about like it's not mattering in the grand scheme of things, well, it matters in that moment, and I think it does matter in high school. I think give these people something to work for.
And it matters
positive.
on your resume.
I think
people like that shit. People like to see that I was the valedictorian, I was the salutatorian, I gave this speech. Like, that matters in this world. Unfortunately, that's how it's built. Like them two, like they both said, like when you go into the corporate world, that shit matters. You may not get your break the way you wanted it, but it matters when I step into the room.
People care about what you got on your trophy case. You know what I mean? And you know what? Not for nothing. I'm just going to get a dig at him because I don't like him. Former President Donald Trump, you know, if he said I was valedictorian, I'm like, that's a lie. You know, just because they're just a... It's just the way you talk, you know, that I will have to believe that I knew the valedictorian, salutatorian. Actually, I think I'm friends with one of them on Facebook. They're smart people, you know. It doesn't mean that you're like, you know, like the Pope or something like that. That just means like these people getting something because they worked fucking hard.
But
for
I will
it
say,
and give them their award
on a young child level, though, for being young kids, though, it can actually create some issues. Because you're being too competitive. Like, oh my God, Johnny's in second grade. He's got a B. Oh no, that'll never work. I mean, sometimes it gets the parents get involved. It gets a little too crazy for the competition. Once you reach a certain age level,
well, that's
why it's only at a high school level. I think we only do it from high school.
Hold on, that's it. I'm gonna take this from Angelique. That's the issue where family counseling comes in, because if someone got to speak up, nigga, because like, yo, get off my back. Like, are you in school? Like, did you want to come make this drink?
I'm just a kid.
You know what I mean?
No, I'm saying,
all right, y'all.
There is some competition.
Yeah,
out there,
like, come on.
I mean,
my parents, trust me. My grandmother has been recognized by the president, President Clinton, back in '98 as like one of the best who's teacher, you know, amongst who's. And she's not crazy, but you know, it wasn't. I didn't see the light of day for a while. Like when school's out, I'm doing homework, bitch. And here I am better for it. We ran out of time, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see Brandy next week. And you know what? Take a little more time, have a little bit more common courtesy. Bye.
See ya.
Follow our podcast page, Common Courtesy TV, here on Facebook and YouTube for more conversations on love, sex, relationships, and commentary on the latest trending news. And listen to us on multiple podcast platforms via commoncourtesytv.buzzsprout.com.